behind us, right on the side of us. You could kind of see the thing moving through the woods.
All I can remember is flipping the light on, and I see this creature, and I knew in my heart, I knew in my mind, and the whole night, this isn't a man.
And then this thing walks across the road, takes a turn towards us, and then leaps over a guardrail.
Went to look forward, and there was a big black thing.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, exploring the Bigfoot mystery each week with your hosts, veteran researcher, author, and TV personality, the Squatch Detective, Steve Culls, and from the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky, Chris Bennett. Sit back and buckle up as we bring you guests from around North America discussing the Bigfoot phenomena, but not without a few laughs, too. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, January 2nd, 2022. Happy New Year's, everybody. I'm your host, your guy, the Squatch Detective Steve Culls, along with, well, my co-host right down there, Mr. B himself, Mr. Bennett. Hello, Mr. Bennett.
Steve? Good to see you, bud. You enjoying 2022 so far?
Well, there hasn't been any bad news the last couple of days, so I guess that's good. Of course, we have our guest tonight, Joedy Cook, down there at the bottom.
How you doing?
And could 2021 suck any worse with the death of Betty White on the end of
I hated that she didn't make it into the new year, but when you gotta go, you gotta go.
I guess it's just just a horrible week. I mean, the last week, John Madden.
Yeah.
And one of my personal hero is Richard Demo Dick Marchenko, creator of SEAL Team 6. And he passed too. He was 81. You wouldn't think it though, but so it's just oh my God, it's just boom, one after the other. But hey, we got to look forward to 2022. Yep. Let's hope it's going to be a lot better than 2021.
Oh yeah. Winter has arrived here too.
Has it?
I noticed today. Yes, it's cold. Still rainy, so it's not.
Why was there a possum wearing a sweater?
Well, I certainly wasn't outside wearing a t-shirt today. It's very cold. All during Christmas and stuff, it's been like in the 60s and 70s during the day. So outside enjoying the sunshine, t-shirt, no jacket. And today, oh no, man, we're staying inside today. It's cold.
Well, I know it must be pretty cold in Ohio.
It's definitely, it's actually freezing outside right now. Last couple of days were, pretty mild. But today, man, I tell you what, it's cold.
Yeah.
Definitely
Same weather here. It was mild the last couple of days in the 40s and 50s. And today it crept up to about 37.
Mm-hmm.
Right now we're at a balmy 24.
Yeah, it's we're probably right around 38 degrees right now outside. Yeah, it's pretty chilly.
Yep. But
yeah.
At least it's not that negative number or that like 5 degrees. That's when it really, when you go out and you feel every vein in your nose, that's when you know it's bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's do our usual roll call, Mr. B.
We got a lot of people in chat.
We sure do. We got Bob Lemley first in today, it looks like. Hello, Bob. We
roll way up here. Yeah, Bob first. Hi, Bob.
GM Zabo is in the house. Wanted to say the Ohio Grassman episodes is one of his favorite Monster Quest genres. Then we got OT, of course, in the house. B. Lynn is here.
OT, B.
He's in the house. Who else? Jay Fritz.
Hey, Jay.
And who else we got going on?
Kate Bishop. Hi, Kate.
Kate's in the house. Bigfoot Society in the house.
Bigfoot Society. All right.
High Five Chaser.
High Five Chaser.
Don Fuller in the house.
Hey, Don.
Sugar Britches.
Sugar Britches.
Howdy, right back at you.
All right.
Arthur's in the house.
Hey, Arthur.
Low Rider, of course.
Low Rider.
Grasshopper.
Hey, Grasshopper.
There's Joe checking in.
Hi, Joe.
Timmy Boy.
Timmy Boy. Welcome.
Boy, it is packed in here. Raptor Crazy.
Raptor.
And Chris late to the party, but didn't miss a thing. Of course, Nikki over at Harry Man Hoaxes.
Nikki.
Lockbeard's up.
Lockbeard.
Who else we got? Leon's here.
Hey, Leon. Good to see you.
And Brian McMahon.
Hey, Brian.
Mary Roller. Life is a Flyway. Bigfoot New York Todd.
Bigfoot New York Todd.
Godzilla 2000.
Favorite movie.
Everybody is in the house.
That was a good one.
Dave Parker.
Dave.
Prairie Fire. Life is a Flyway. So I think we got everybody current there. So hello, everybody. Yeah. Welcome. Happy New Year to one and all. So here we are talking about one of my favorite topics too, is the Ohio Grassman. And Joedy, I don't know how you've written how many books now. God.
Oh God.
Did you even lose count?
Yeah, it's under. I know it's under 18.
Under 18.
Yeah, so it's about 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mine is under 4.
Yeah, the thing of it, I have like 3 that I went through a regular publishing company. Okay. And as well as I do, I mean, you're looking at from the time you talk to a publishing company, it's 12 to 18 months, before your book gets out there. And I just got to the point where, I decided to go on Amazon to their publishing company, and I found out there's a lot of big authors. They're using Amazon in order to get their books out like really, really fast.
Yeah.
And decided to do that. And I had some issues on a couple of them. One guy, I literally had to, sue because he took 2 of my books and we basically bought 2 of my books, took everything out of my books, published a book using all my stuff, and then accused me of stealing his stuff.
Oh God.
Yeah. And it was like, there was like a year difference from the time my book was out compared to like his. And the bad thing of what he did, he like really, him and all of his friends and his family, really dogged me on reviews on Amazon. And not just with that book, he decided to go do it with like basically all my books. And the thing with Amazon is that if you get a negative review, even though the review is a false review, they still leave it on there, and which sucks because it does hurt you. But like I said, I ended up suing this guy, over this whole thing. With the books and stuff, but and I was getting ready to sue Amazon because I wanted the reviews, removed, and they're like, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. This is how. But I had to go back and write a whole thing under the review saying, look, this is the situation that happened here, but you shouldn't have to do that. So that's when I basically said, you know what, I'm done with Amazon. I'm done with doing that because if they're not going to sit there and protect you against trolls, there's no sense, doing it.
Right.
So, So I'm looking at other publishing companies on the outside.
I noticed like the books of the 60s and 70s, most all of them had a certain theme. They would mention the classic sightings, like the Ape Canyon incident and stuff like. And then they would go into just little details about those. And
right.
So that seemed like everybody was, you picked up, if you read one book, you basically read them all.
Right. Yeah. Because, in the 70s and 80s, everything was referenced. You were referencing everything. And, if you had a lot of encounters on your own and you did a book, it went very well, but you always had to go back and use references. And there's nothing wrong with using references because it lets the people who are reading your book to know that, okay, good. Here's another source I can go to. Because the thing of it is, you don't want people to say, okay, I'm the only source. You need to listen to me and not listen to everybody else. Mm-hmm. I always put references in mind so people can always go back and look at the references and see what they have to say because you're getting more information. And, it's like I did one book, Bigfoot. I can't remember which one it was. Bigfoot. Oh, heck, I can't remember the name of it. But I basically wrote it about Monster Quest show. And, because I was really upset with Monster Quest, on that show. There was things, it's like, well, Don Keating was not supposed to be in that show at all. I brought Don in to that, and I'll go back and tell you some stuff about that. But, the thing about Monster Quest is they always wanted to leave out vital information. Okay. And because they always wanted this big mystery. But when people are watching it, they don't see that. Okay, perfect example was the baboon skull. Okay, here in Ohio, and I mentioned this while I'm sitting there outside being interviewed about the skull, and they didn't even put that part in the show. And that's what I was really upset about, because it would have gave all the listeners and viewers, well, okay, now they understand why there's a skull, baboon skull. Ohio is very well known for legal and illegal exotic animal trade.
Sure. Yep.
Okay. It's really big in Ohio. It's really big in Adams and Scioto County. The DNR will back that up. This baboon was most likely someone's pet. Okay. Now, that's a possibility. The other possibility is there's 3 very large primate research centers in the state of Ohio. Okay. Now, each one of these centers have had primates escape from these centers. Okay. They know this. Baboons is one of the biggest ones they've had. I even talked to a deputy sheriff in Adams County that saw, and he even said this thing was a baboon that was crossing the road. Because I got up close enough to see it. It was a baboon. I know what a baboon looks like. So we know that there are baboons in Adams County. Okay. And the skull is most likely either someone's pet. It got too big. He took it out and shot it because it looked like there was a 22 hole in the back of the skull, or it would, it didn't adapt to the weather and it ended up dying because they can't, they're warm environment animals.
Yeah.
So I mentioned that in Monster Quest, and it's just like they cut that whole part out, which was I was really upset about because that was vital information about the skull, because I got a lot of flack from that. Well, there's no baboons in Ohio, so where's this guy coming from? Well, we don't know. But the point of it is, we know there's exotic animal trade in Ohio. So that's probably where it came from. Now, where I found it was a place called Buzzards Roost Rock. Now, you can go up steps on it, and there's like a platform you can go on. But before, that was never there. You basically had to climb up a crevice to get on top of it. And that's where a lot of the buzzards actually perched and had nests up there. And that's where I found the skull, along with a bunch of other small bones from other animals. And the skull was laying upside down. The thing I noticed was a large canine teeth. And I'm like, well, that's an odd looking,
Sure.
skull. And then I looked at it and I said, oh yeah, this is the baboon. But there again, Monster Quest wanted to make sure, it was a mystery. And the primatologist, I can't think, Esteban
Sarmiento. Yep.
Yeah, Sarmiento. He knew ahead of time it was a baboon skull. He knew it was coming to him, but he had to sit there and play like, oh, it's all excited, mystery. So it's that's how TV works.
Yeah.
There was a couple other issues, with Monster Quest. Dealing with that there. The skull and the handprint that went to the FBI. Now, what's interesting about the handprint, I did not find that handprint. What I did, now back in the 80s, in order to get reports, I ended up writing one basic letter. Okay. And what that letter basically said is, if you get any reports of a Bigfoot, don't laugh it off. Don't discard it. Send the witnesses my way. And I sent it out to all 88 sheriff's departments in the state of Ohio. So if they got the call, not to laugh it up, send away. So I was getting a lot of people that were contacting me from different parts of the states, because when they had sightings, they would end up contacting the sheriff's department. And most rural areas in Ohio, you end up contacting the sheriff's department because they don't have a local police. So, and that's where I was getting a lot of the stuff. So I ended up getting a call from a Adams County deputy sheriff that said, listen, I was on this case and I think you might be interested in it because there were some tracks that were found. So you mind coming up here? So I came up there, went up on the site with the deputy, and there was a mobile home there. It was in a rural area. There was a ravine, and there was a young girl and her friend who was married to the girl's brother. Okay. So they were inside the ravine or inside the trailer. It was raining, storming at night. The husband was at work. He worked overnight, and something was banging on the side of the trailer and screaming and stuff. So the next morning, the husband got home. They told him what happened. He went out and he found, these footprints, and he found this one handprint where it showed where it came out of the ravine. And basically, because it's just the up part of the hand and not the thumb, because when it came out of the ravine, there was a broken branch there from the storm where it basically pushed it down where the palm and thumb was on it and came out of the ravine. And so what he ended up doing was making casts of the handprint and a cast of the footprint. So when I got there, he showed me the cast and the cast of the handprint, and the handprint was kind of neat. It was very small, but the footprints were very human footprints. They weren't very big. They were probably maybe about size 13 and human size, but the hands were very short, stubby fingers. So I made the cast, or ended up getting the cast from them. I made a copy of the cast, so I have a duplicate if anything ever happened. So when we were doing Monster Quest, I sent it, to them. They end up sending it to Jimmy Chilcutt, who is a primate fingerprint expert for the FBI. Now, he stated that he felt the handprint was very primate, most likely some type of gorilla. But when he contacted bone clones, he actually sent the handprint to bone clones. Bone clones match it up to they have quite a few gorilla handprints, hand molds, and it didn't match up to any of the hand molds they had. So they end up contacting the San Diego Center for Primates, which has the largest collection of primate skulls, body parts, stuff like that. That's the place to go. They have everything, and they have literally hundreds of molds of handprints of different primates there, along with the footprints and everything. And it didn't match up to anything they had. Okay, so we have to look at the possibility, and this is another thing that Monster Quest refused to say, was one, was this a Bigfoot? Two, was this a gorilla? Okay, now it goes back to what I was saying again. Ohio being, having an exotic animal trade, it is not unusual for someone to have a gorilla in the state of Ohio as a pet. It has happened. The Cincinnati Zoo ended up getting a gorilla that was a personal pet of someone for 20 years. Okay. And when the gorilla came to Cincinnati, it never seen another primate or another gorilla or anything in its life. So it's not unusual for someone to have one. Could it got out? It's a possibility. We just don't know. But the thing about the handprint, it was the FBI could not determine what it was. If it was a gorilla or if it was a Bigfoot, it wasn't human. They know that. The dermal ridges were very similar to a gorilla, but it didn't perfectly match up to a gorilla. Okay, so it still became a mystery of what the handprint was. Okay, but the possibility, me personally, I always felt that, being Adams County, being the fact that there's a lot of exotic animal trade going on there, it could have been a gorilla. Someone's pet that got out. The possibility, anything is possible. It's another perfect example. This happened after Monster Quest. I ended up finding a part of a jawbone. It's about here to here. Again, I found this in Adams County, in a dried up riverbed. And the tooth, I've never seen this tooth before in my life, how this canine is. The back teeth, the molars, I've never seen the type of molars in my life, what this thing looks like. I went through every single book of primates to see what their molars look like. And this is the most oddest type of molars I've ever seen. And like I said, the tooth, the canine, bottom canine, you can see where it had a groove where the top canine came down,
right,
and where they kind of like connected.
Yeah.
Which most primates don't do that. Okay.
Yeah, they come out to the side.
Yeah, they come out to the side, and like I said, I've got the jawbone. The front part of the teeth, it's got a section of the teeth are very human. I mean, extremely human looking. They match up very, to like human teeth on the bottom here. Then it has the large canine here, and then it has the molars, which are spiky, is the best way to describe it. They're just really weird looking, and so I don't know what this is, because like I said, I looked through every single primate to see what this thing is, and I'm afraid to send it off somewhere. Okay. Yeah. And it come up missing. If it is a Bigfoot or a dog man or whatever, or even though it may to be some type of domestic animal. I don't know, but like I said, it's very, very odd. The bone structure is very odd looking. Like I said, the teeth are very human looking in the front. I don't know.
Well, maybe you could take a sample, Joedy, just like a dermal tool or something other, and saw off a little piece. And I don't know where you could send it though. That wouldn't be $5,000, to check it out.
That's the only problem to get, to get it sent off. It's like, I have hair sample that, really nice piece of chunk of skin with hair on it that came back of an unknown species of primate. And that piece of evidence came up missing somewhere from the transport from the DNA facility back to me. Came up missing. And that's not uncommon because, like I said, I just did a show last year on Dogman, and we had hair samples, and the hair samples came back with an unknown species of canine that did not match up to any known canine in existence. It had traces of wolf, but it did not match up to any species of wolf in existence. And that here, when it went from the first DNR facility to the second one to get a second opinion, the hair came up missing.
Well, Leon in chat wants to know, a Bigfoot Okanagan, would it be okay? Could we see a picture of the jaw? Or, well, I don't, Steve, you hadn't got that loaded up or anything.
I don't have a picture on my phone. I mean,
you know how these guys are.
I mean,
I'm curious.
If you want to take a quick 2-minute break, I'll run and get it. I mean,
if you wouldn't mind, Joedy. I mean, we don't want to put you out or anything.
No, that's fine. I'll run. I'll run and get it. Yeah, if you guys.
Yeah. ATL Clutch asked, "Can you take pictures of it and then show them to professionals, see what they think? Maybe you can do that."
I've got pictures on my Facebook page, but I would have to close you down in order to get in it. But yeah, I can send you pictures.
Oh, hang on, I'm working on it right now.
Our chat room is really great, Joedy. Our chat room is really great. These listeners, they pop right in. Hey man, they ask questions and want to.
Oh no, that's fine.
I love it that they can get involved in the show. I love that.
If you want to take, like I said, take a 1-minute break. I can run and get it. And
go ahead. Be fine.
It's I'm trying to get this picture up, but since Jody's getting it, I'll revert back to our show here.
Joedy was talking about something earlier. I didn't want to, interrupt him. But the place he was talking was bone clones. And if I'm not mistaken, that's one of those businesses. They reproduce scientific found bones for to send out to museums for display. And a lot of people don't realize this. They think that when you go to to the Smithsonian and you see all these bones and stuff that were found of the human fossils and humanoid fossils, that these are all real, and they're not. They're not. They're fakes. They don't put the real ones out for display.
There is the bone clone website up right there.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, I think one of the shows that Dr. Jeff Meldrum did, he was talking about the amount of human fossils that have been found, and it's not that many. You might be able to see human fossils in a local museum somewhere, but more than likely, 99% of the time, you're not looking at the real deal. You're looking at a copy.
Yeah. Here, let's see.
There it is.
Oh, that's cool.
Let's see if we can't.
Can you put him up on the?
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's it right there. That's part of the jaw. You can see here where very human looking. And then this is the inside. There was another piece that was attached. And I don't know if you can see, but the teeth are very odd looking. But the thing is, this one pulls out.
Right.
But you can see here where the other tooth comes down like this.
I see. Yeah.
Goes across there. And let's go back over this way. It's odd looking. You know, it's not a bear. I've got a bear skull. It's not a cougar. It's just like I said, I mean, you can see where it comes through. I mean, there's not even bone covering where the tooth goes. The tooth basically has no bone that covers that. It's not you. You can look at it. You can see it's not torn off. It's just there is no bone that covered that part of the tooth there. And like I said, I don't know. I mean, this is, you know,
that is interesting.
You know, I don't know. Like you said, I don't.
Very thin at the back there, though. That's one thing that's throwing me. The thickness at the hinge is a little smaller than I would have expected. But you know, I'm not. I haven't seen Bigfoot. I'm just going by what you see like on a Gigantopithecus.
Well, see, the thing of it is, like this tooth right here,
right?
This is a long tooth, and it's. I mean, I don't know. It's odd. I like you said, I couldn't tell you. It has 1, 2, 3. It's got 3 molars. And then this tooth here is like a human tooth. And then this one right here is like a razor blade, is the best way to describe it. And like I said, it's got 4 different type of teeth. You know, these 3 are the same. This one right here, like I said, I'm sorry. This one right here is very human looking. These 3 are all the same. This one is like a razor blade because it comes up and it goes at an angle like that with a very, very sharp edge on it. Right. And then you have the canine. So, like I said, I've never seen anything like this. I don't know. You know, it could be some type of domestic animal. I don't know. You know, but like I said, I mean, the teeth are very human looking. They're, you know, I bought a part of a gorilla from Bone Clones. They have like a gorilla section,
right?
Like
cross
this
section of the jaw,
of the jaw. I bought one from there to match it up, and it doesn't look anything like a gorilla.
Okay.
So, and it, like I said, I mean, this thing it's odd looking. So, it's definitely about the size of a human. You know.
Right.
Yeah, could very well be. Yeah. Interesting. Life is a Flyway came up with a good idea. How about 3D scanning it, which you can do with the phone nowadays, because there's apps. You can take that file and send it to an anthropologist. So that might be an idea too.
Well, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about sending it to Jeff Meldrum, but honestly, my thing is I've had so many things come up missing in the mail.
Right. So that's why if you send a picture file, you can always regenerate that or take some pictures. I mean, even pictures with the measurements and stuff like that. Yeah. OT makes a good point. The razor tooth might be carnassial.
It's interesting. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Yes, absolutely. What else?
You know, like I said, the thing of it is, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like I said, you know.
Well, that's the thing. When you find something, until you can identify it, it's a mystery. Now, after you identify it, then the mystery is over. But if you can't identify it, then we still got some mystery there somewhere.
See, now, ATL Clutch made a comment. I just want to, it looks like a hog. It does a little bit, but the problem is the front teeth of a hog are pointed outward.
Yeah. And the thing of it is, I end up buying a wild hog skull. We have a place here next to Ohio called Friendship, Indiana. And what that is, it's a big retreat that, you know, bushcrafters and hunters, you know, black powder hunters and stuff like that. It's been going on for literally the same retreat's been going on for, you know, 200 years in the same location. Okay. And if you want to find any type of animal skull, any type of animal fur, anything like this, this is a place to go. So I end up going down there. Like I said, I end up buying about a wolf, about a coyote skull. I end up getting a cougar skull. I end up getting a hog skull, a regular hog skull, and I end up getting a boar skull. And none of those match anything.
Yeah. And as you can see there, whoops.
I end up I bought a replica of a gorilla skull. I bought see, you can see right there.
You can see very clearly that, you know, that does not really match up with what you have there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not right for a hog skull.
Yeah.
I mean a hog jaw, because the teeth are pointed the wrong direction.
Yeah, you know, like I said, on my regular Facebook page, let me see here if I can. I don't know if this will block you out, but I've got some pictures I can probably send. Did it block you?
Huh?
You can still see me, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I've got some regular pictures. I can probably send you, and that way you can get a you know, but like I said, I'm not sure. It's odd looking. I'll send you a picture too of
well, one of the things that's throwing me about it is how small it's getting. Is it broken in the back?
It's broken where it connects to the skull.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking, gosh, that looks awfully small, you know, back there where the connection at. But if it's got like an upper part that is broken away, of course, it would appear to be small too.
Mm-hmm.
But that's interesting. I like that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to switch over to Salt Fork Bigfoot, aside from whatever, you know, Jeff Patterson has found, and those guys with the Bigfoot tooth. It seems like, you know, Salt Fork has attracted a couple of attention seekers over the years, such as those guys, and luckily with the whole tooth thing, I kind of shut them down a bit. They were very upset about me posting a video showing how their tooth is not a tooth, and
it was part of. When I was looking, it's like it's part of a deer toe, isn't it, or something like that?
I'm not even sure, but I know whatever forensic things he was using, he was doing it completely improperly. It was so long ago, I actually kind of forgot, and then, you know, he made a couple of comments on the YouTube channel, and that was it. He was done.
Yeah, it looked like you know, a deer, a buck, and his hoof. He's got kind of like a finger bone, almost is the best way to describe it, that kind of like goes into the hoof, and it looks like a tooth. The bottom part does. When you find them, it does. It look like a tooth. And when I saw that, I'm like, that's not a Bigfoot tooth. That's looks like part of a buck. That the part that that's inside the hoof. That was kind of odd looking.
Yeah. So I actually last year I actually was out at Salt Fork for a little bit, which was really cool. Saw a lot of deer. Actually got a bunch of deer, but got a therm of an owl sitting in a tree, and a therm of a raccoon walking down the road. So just a great place for wildlife. But since you taught, one of your books is about Salt Fork State Park and the Bigfoot stuff. When did that all start with Bigfoot and Salt Fork State Park?
Well, Salt Fork was built in 1971. Okay, so the first thing that was built there was the ranger cabin. Okay, so I actually talked to one of the original rangers that was in that cabin when Salt Fork was being built, and the guy's hands completely all cut up. Okay. And he was out in the cabin one night. It was in the middle of the night, and he's at the desk, and there's a window there, and he's doing something at the desk, standing up, and he looks up, and he sees a Bigfoot standing right there, looking into the cabin. And he said the first reaction was he hit it and went through the glass and totally cut his hand up because it scared him that bad. So sightings officially started like in 1971 at the park, but prior to 71, everybody in that area knew that there was something there. So there was always a Bigfoot there. So when Monster Quest came out, every single Bigfoot researcher in the world was there. Okay. Not really the world, but I'm using that as an expression.
Right. In the area.
You could not go to that park without stepping on someone out in the field.
Sure.
Okay. For a few years, there were hardly any sightings in that park because there were just so many people tromping out there. All the sightings were actually taken outside of the park, believe it or not, because whatever this thing was in the park, it left the park because there were just too many people there, so now things are kind of picking up a little bit in that park, and it's really only in like designated areas where it's taking place. There's one part of that park where there's a lot of activity that's taking place. The park rangers don't even like to even go to that part of the park because at night it's extremely spooky. Because we were out there one night, and when the rangers were coming down, he had his gun out on his seat because he was ready. And I can't remember what it's out behind where the ranges are, the gun ranges. There's a pond there, and that's where all the geese and all this stuff is. And this thing goes out there and he ends up eating the eggs of the geese and ends up killing all the geese and stuff. So that's why they kind of have to go out there to that area. But they said they hate going out there because I'm telling you, in the wintertime, how the trees looked is extremely spooky. I mean, just how the trees are when you go down the road. It's like the trees are ready to come down and grab you. It's that spooky looking. There's that part, and in the handicap parking area is another really big part where a lot of sightings have been taking place, activity going on there. So I don't know, man. It's when it all started before Monster Quest, there was a lot of activity going on there, and it was pretty scary stuff.
Do you think between the Bigfoot conferences there and the fame of Monster Quest, you believe that it's kind of worn them or shaking them off a bit, kind of moving them on because of all the activity and people prodding?
It did. I think it knocked down a lot of activity because, like you said, now there's a lot of activity taking place outside of the park. Because when Monster Quest and the Ohio Bigfoot Conference, there's always something going on there, and there's so many people out in the field there. It's crazy. You can't go without stepping on someone out there. I mean, we were out there one night, and this is the honest God's truth. We were out there, and we were at the handicap parking area, and we were hearing knocks. So we're doing knocks back, and we're doing calls. We're getting calls back. I'm like, man, this is a lot of activities going on here. One of the park rangers came up. He saw us there. We were under the pavilion there where the bathroom was. We had a DVR system set up. We had cameras going out 200 feet in each area so we can see someone with IR. And, the ranger was checking on us, and we were sitting there talking, and he goes, I'm over at Hozak's Cave, and the BFRO's over there. And these guys are getting activity. So basically what it was, we were getting them and they were getting us. There was no Bigfoot, and that's how and that's how Salt Fork is now. You're getting knocks, you're getting screams, and it's probably not from Bigfoot. It's probably from another researcher that's out there in the field. Because it's just so saturated now with people out there, especially on conference weekend. It's nuts.
I think it was you, me, and Ken Gerhardt went up to that area way back in 2011.
Yeah.
That was the area we went back to. I remember that. I actually revisited that area last year. Luckily there was hardly anybody in the park. So that was kind of the cool thing. It was kind of a quiet night. Of course, I tend not to, do what I call provoking anymore. I try not to do screams or knocks right off the chute. Just sit and listen for a couple hours, see what happens. And, but we went out there, it was pretty quiet, still pretty creepy, but pretty quiet. And kind of interested to see they have a Bigfoot Ridge now, which, of course,
I'm sorry.
No, of course, that got kind of infamous by the Hoda and Kathy Lee visit a few years back. So
the thing, the Bigfoot Ridge, you're talking about where the campsite is, right?
Yeah, that general area.
That when I was there doing an investigation, this was probably 2017, maybe. There was, when you pull in, there's that pond or that lake that's right there. And I found all these snapping turtle shells and bones where something was just, was eating on the snapping turtles. And it feasted on like 4 of them. And turtles are very bloody animals when you kill them to cut the meat and cook them and things like that. So I don't know if this was Bigfoot activity on there, but that day or the following morning I was leaving, there was a big bush like right there. And I was driving by and I saw the eye shine. And so I stopped and there was something in the bush right there. It was huge. And from the sunlight, you can see this thing moving back and forth, and I'm sitting there watching it and you can see the eye shine. There was something in that bush watching me. And this thing was probably at least 10 feet away from me. And I could smell it and I can see it. And it actually ended up growling, doing like a growl sound, and I kind of like moved on, but there's definitely something in that area,
Right. And I respectfully disagree with the audience there. They're still talking about that jawbone. If you look at the boar teeth, where the hog teeth, teeth are forward, front facing. The teeth on the forward, you see the canine, but the teeth going forward are very human looking, and that is not on any of the hog pictures I see. I see a very distinct forward-fronting kind of pointed teeth. If you ever look at a hog's mouth, they have these pointy little teeth up front. So I disagree with that.
That's not a pig jaw.
No, it's something else.
No, let me get some pictures here, and I'll text them to you.
The other thing too is the pig jaw seems to deviate a lot more at a 90-degree angle once you get to the part where it reaches, the mandible reaches into the jawbone, where it matches up with the maxilla. So definitely something to look at. I think that
it's interesting.
It's interesting. I think that but the size of that is definitely a little bit bigger. Well, we'll have to take a look.
Maybe we got some professionals that are watching on the show.
I just sent them to you, Steve.
Sure.
Leave a comment if you know what it is. Okay.
Like I said, I don't know. I am not saying that it's Bigfoot. I am not saying that it's Dogman. I'm just saying I have no idea what it is. My thing is, I'm just afraid to send it off someplace and it get lost, like the hair samples, and things. I mean, I actually had literally a chunk of skin with hair on it, and that came back of an unknown species, a primate. And like I said, it came up missing, which really upset me, and that's why I said I just don't like sending stuff off to
Joedy,
research labs and things like that.
You're acting in a professional, investigative manner. You found something. Mm-hmm. You freely admit, I'm not sure what this is. I don't know what. You're not jumping out and saying, "Look, I found Bigfoot. Here's proof." No, you're saying, "I've found a jawbone, and I'm not certain what it is." So let's look at it a little bit more.
Yeah. Like you said, you can see the molars, the teeth. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Like I said, it could be, that's, you can see where it's busted off there. Like I said, I don't know. I looked at different skulls on what it could be, Like I said, Adams County is well known for exotic animals. It could be some type of exotic animal, but what kind, I have no idea. It's just like you said. It's kind of different there. Like I said, I don't think it's. Like you said, I don't think it's a. It's a Bigfoot. I don't know. Because I'm thinking Bigfoot would be more human. I have an issue with Bigfoot having canines. Okay. I know primates have canines. Chimpanzees don't, to the extent what a gorilla would have, So I think a Bigfoot would probably have more human style teeth. That's a dog.
That's actually a hog.
Oh, that's a hog. Okay.
Yeah. And what I'm going to do is I just want to trying to get this compared.
Look, the thing of it is, if you look at the teeth, the bone structure, it looks like it's going in like an S motion. It's not straightforward like a.
So we would stop expanding. There we go. Oh.
Like I said, I don't know what that. I mean, like I said, it could be some type of exotic animal that somebody had, someone had, because like I said, it's not uncommon for that.
What is missing in the hog mouth is you see P4, P3, P2, P1. They are very, very flat and narrow teeth. They're for grinding. And these are very robust.
Well, that's an upper skull.
Yeah, that's an upper.
Is that the upper?
Yeah, that's the upper.
My apologies. It
Yeah.
didn't really say what it was. That is correct. That's the maxilla. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get a
See
better.
the passages for the nose, nasal, air passage.
Yeah. Yeah. Hogs
where the
don't
tissue
have,
would connect anyway.
Yeah, hogs don't have that front teeth.
Right.
Like that.
Correct.
They don't,
Goodness. Dump my ashtray can here.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So I wish I could get.
And now
Yeah.
you can see on the hog, you can see there's a gap there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the next.
Yeah.
Oh, for the love of God. Computer does not want to cooperate today, folks. I apologize.
Boom.
Come on. There we go.
I don't think it would be a chimp either.
I don't know.
Very long.
Like I said, it's fat.
It's a head scratcher.
The canine's very sharp. A bear is very much like a dog.
Right.
Dogs
you
have
can,
two sets of canines. So
you can also see in this picture that the structure seems to go up and then curves down, where you don't have that as a drastic downward move.
Yeah.
In a hog. And of course, the jaw, if you look, goes very up at a high angle where this one does not. So what it is, I don't know. Very interesting.
I don't know. I mean, like I said,
I do, but I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, you figured it out, Chris?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a broken lower jaw from a baboon.
Really? Okay. Seriously?
Hang on a second.
All right.
It's like if it is a baboon, it would not be uncommon to find bones of them in Ohio, because, like I said, not just the fact that they're people's pets, but the fact that we have primate facilities here where they have had.
Let's see, where's it at?
There you go, Chris. I've put it up.
Did you get it? Is that it?
Wow!
Okay.
Look at
There we go.
look at the
on the right here.
Yeah,
but it's broken. It's broken though. See, that's the thing.
Sorry, I got to do this again because
depending on where the break is at. Is that right, Steve? I mean, is that mine or yours? I can't. You got it.
Yeah. Now, what I'm looking at here is, you see this right here, and
What?
look at that. Look at that.
Wait a minute.
I don't see. What are you looking at?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't.
Hang on, you got
this
mine.
is-
I think. Let me close.
Hang on. There we go.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go. Now watch right here.
There we go.
This is very interesting.
That's it.
There and right there.
Right there.
That's the ID factor right there. Yeah. The problem is where it's broken at the back. That's got to be a massive amount broken away from that jawbone in order for it to look like that.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see where it broke. It's missing like the other side. The other side of the jawbone and the thing there. So, and the thing of it is, I actually when I was up there, I was looking for trilobites, and I was digging around in there. Trilobites is it's a little bug, prehistoric bug that rolls up into a like a little ball, or you can find them. It's like, it looks almost like a pill bug. And Ohio is very common with trilobites. And actually, that's what I was up there doing. We were looking for trilobites and other little fossils and stuff. And that's when I found that one. So, yeah,
I don't know if that's conclusive or not, Joedy, but
the thing of it is, it makes sense because, like I said, we do know, and I actually talked with the DNR about this. They said, yes, it's not uncommon for someone to have a baboon as a pet. They've been on calls where people have had them and they had to, end up putting them down. There's research facilities in Ohio that has baboons where baboons have got out. I've talked to numerous police officers that have actually seen baboons in Adams County, Scioto County. So if that's the remains of one, it
would be completely unexpected. I mean, that the baboon is not native to your area, so why would you expect to find one in the woods?
Right. And the thing, it's the same thing with the the skull. I found the skull at it, 5 or 6 years prior to the jawbone in a different location of Adams County. This one, both of them would have been in the Wayne National Forest, considered Wayne National Forest.
And if you think about it, remember last April, was it, in Cincinnati, we had that whole group of people seeing the family of monkeys
in the trees. Here's the odd thing about that. Okay. And this is my hometown. This is in the, my neighborhood. Okay. Where all this stuff was taking place. And people were describing these monkeys as being 4-5 feet in, size. Okay. Which is a perfect size for a baboon. Okay. Baboons can get up to about 4 feet. Okay. The males. And what they were describing these monkeys to be were very similar to what a baboon looked like.
Oh, and that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Do you know Larry Batson?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, so Larry actually is an animal educator and habituator, lives in Indiana, and he's also very big into the Bigfoot mystery as well. And Larry has a pet baboon.
Mm-hmm.
And so you might want to, I can connect you to, or I can reach out to him and see if that looks like a baboon jaw. He may know.
Yeah.
Because he's had that baboon for years. I've
got a monkey skull. I can't think of the name of the monkey. It's got like really big eyes to it. And I found that in Scioto County out in the woods. It's not a spider monkey. I can't remember what type of, it's not a domestic monkey. It was someone's pet, but I found that skull in Scioto County. And, it's like, I thought when I found it, man, because the size of the eyes, I got like really excited. I was like, wow, man, this is a baby gray, gray alien, because it had the really big eyes to it. And when I took it home and I was looking at it, it was some monkey, which was very common as a pet. That's the whole purpose of this monkey, was just people had it for pets. And like I said, there again, it was probably someone's pet that got out and the cat ate it or something crazy. But I found a whole lot of odd stuff in Scioto County, in Adams County. Just weird things. Because like I said, we had, I don't know if you remember this, probably 5 years ago. And this was right at the time I found the jawbone. There was a guy in Adams County that had a zoo, and he ended up letting all the animals out. And he had African lions.
I remember that. They ended up shooting so many of them.
Yeah. He ended up killing himself. And he let them all out, and they had to come in and kill all the animals off because, like you said, there was lions, there were
tiger,
grizzly bears, which was not native to Ohio. There was cheetahs. I mean, just a whole slew of exotic animals. And it was this guy's zoo in Adams County.
that was such a sin. That was
Yeah,
such a sinful.
they had to come in and kill all of them. So, and that's the thing. When people find stuff like bones and things like that, if it came out of like that particular part of Ohio, I always sit there and say to myself, it's probably some type of exotic animal. It has to be. You know, with this jawbone, you know, I never once ever said
It's a Bigfoot. Yeah,
it was a Bigfoot or a dog man or anything to that effect. It's just I always, deep back in my mind, I always knew it was some type of exotic animal. It had to be.
And if there's baboons in the backwoods of Ohio, that could explain at least some, or maybe at least one of the dogman sightings.
Let me answer that question, Raptor. That wasn't the right guy. That was a different guy that you're talking about. They did cover that very briefly on
on that show they did.
But no, they didn't feature him. That wasn't the guy that was having all the problems. I believe he was from Indiana, to tell you the truth. The other guy.
Yeah.
The one that was on the latest on season 2, they had the guy that was holding out and they seized all his animals and stuff like that. That guy, I believe, was from Indiana.
Yeah. And the thing of it is, you know, it's not just Ohio, it's all over. A lot of people have exotic animals. And here's one of the best things have an exotic animal story is I truly believe like the Beast of Chevron Dawn was not a wolf. This thing, I truly believe it was a hyena, because it was not uncommon for royalty to have a private zoo where they had domestic animals from around the world. And it was not uncommon for royalty to let these animals out to feed on the peasants. And if you ever read some of the stories of the Beast of Chevron Dawn, and if people don't know what that is, in the 1700s, there was a wild animal that was going around mutilating people, and they all thought it was some type of a werewolf type animal. But research now is kind of saying it was probably a hyena. From when you look at the description of the animal compared to the wounds, what they talked about, what this thing does is perfect what a hyena would have done.
And that's what I love about you, Joedy, is you're into the dog man too, but you're not into this the blind belief system. And that's awesome. I mean, that's what I love about you, is that you're not a blind believer in a lot of this stuff.
No, I mean the thing you know as well as I do, you have to be a skeptic in order to be a good or decent researcher. Because the way I look at things is, if I find evidence, okay, could I take that evidence to what I call like a crypto court? Okay.
Yeah.
Could I persuade a jury in a crypto court of this evidence? And if I believe I could, then I can release that evidence. But if I can't, I'm not going to say, okay, this is what it is. Is it a Bigfoot, or not? Now, there's some things like I found this track, this dogman track in Germantown, Ohio, and this thing is huge. I mean, it is absolutely huge. And the DNR looked. I have casts of it, and the DNR looked at it and they say, "Well, it's a bear, okay? It's only 4 toes, but they said because of the size of the pad, it's a bear." And I say, "Okay, has a bear that size ever been found in Ohio?" And they said, "No. If this was a bear, which we believe it is, it'd be size of a grizzly." I mean, it's that huge. I'll send you a picture of it here in a second so people can see it. Now, the largest bear ever found in Ohio was a 250-pound black bear. And I actually have a cast of that bear, a print. Because I remember when they were looking for the bear, we were out looking for Bigfoot at the same time, and I found one of the tracks from it, and I made a cast of it. So I believe this thing is a dogman, and I think the DNR believes it's a dogman too, but they're saying it's a bear. But it's let me send you a.
But let me ask you. I'm gonna just play devil's advocate for 1 second on it. Is it possible that there could be somebody that had a grizzly bear as an exotic and it got out?
There's a possibility, but the thing of it is, you live in New York, okay? Sure. You've got bears up there, okay? Bears are nuisance animals. They let you know they're there, okay?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so if there was a bear the size of a grizzly bear running around, somebody would have seen it, okay? Somebody would have definitely had a picture of it or something to that effect. The problem with that is it's staying in one particular area.
Yep.
Okay. Now
that's not bear-like. Yeah, that's right.
It's not bear-like, but the thing, whatever this thing was able to take a cow from one area and take it down a 7-foot embankment, cross the river, and take it back up to the other side embankment and kill it, because there's no way that cow was able to get there. So is it a dog man? I don't know if it's a bear. I know it's not a bear for the simple fact is a bear's not gonna do all that trouble taking a cow from point A to point B. No. The thing of it is, Ohio does not have any predators big enough to take down a cow. Okay. The thing about predators, when they take an animal down, they go for the legs. Okay. You would see bite marks on the legs in order to get the animal down on the ground. This thing didn't have bite marks on it. So it's like I said, you can be the judge of this. You can give me your opinions. People can give me their opinions. Like I said, I truly do not believe it's a bear, because like I said, it only has 4 toes to it. The pad is big, and here's the thing: if you have an animal like you as a Bigfoot researcher, you know what I'm talking about. In order for an animal to support the weight, it's that the foot has to be wide, not narrow. Okay,
correct.
So it would so the pad would be much larger than a regular dog, and the toes would not go into a curve up. They would basically go across almost. And you would see what I'm talking about in the picture here. And I'm going to send you a picture. I just sent you the picture, and I sent you the cast next to a 250-pound black bear. So you can see the difference in the size of this print. It's got claw marks, but it's like I said, it's a big print, and there was a wood line there. It came out of the wood line. There was 3 prints. It came out of the wood line and it moved back. Now it was raining this day. You can see the water that's still in the print there. It moved out and it came back in. It didn't go forward, because if it went forward, you would have been able to see the tracks where it was moving, but you saw where it moved back into the wood line. So I don't know. It's kind of weird there.
Well,
so did
also,
you get
Joedy, if it had been a black bear that had lost a toe, you could tell. Because there's going to still be a space. Now that's interesting.
Yeah.
And
now if you look at the pad, you see how wide the pad is there.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And you can see the toes. The toes go like at an angle like this. Okay. Right. Now, a normal dog would have had two toes, up like this, and then 2 toes down.
In the back, right.
Okay, in the back. So that kind of tells you, the size of the print.
I've seen
it's a fresh print because you can see the.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've seen a black bear track with 4 toes. He had lost one.
Yeah.
But the pad extended out.
Yeah, where
you can see one toe is just gone. It's missing.
Yeah.
But where it should be, you know, the space was there. It should have been. But now if you notice that the pad is not hardly as wide as the toe spread there. That's interesting.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, like I said, did I send you the picture where it's next to the?
Yep, I'm getting that one up.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Now you can see it next to a 250-pound black bear. You can see the difference in the size. I mean, that's
pretty big.
And you can see how the bear toes are. I mean, it's very human looking. You know,
the very
and that's the back print. That's the back right leg. So
you don't see that. You don't see that arching. You don't see the arching of the. You see a slight arch, but it's not to the degree the bear is.
Right, and the black, like I said, that black bear is 250 pounds. That's a large black bear. Okay, when it comes to a black bear, because most black bears are right around 150 pounds, 160 pounds. Some were a little bit bigger, but you know that's pretty big black bear. So that you're looking at 300 pounds plus for that print there. You know, so I said I don't know. See, and the thing of it is, this is on Anthony Road, right off of Anthony Road, where all the activity has been taking place. Now, Anthony Road is kind of like Bray Road, okay, but there's no houses on it. There's no lights or anything on it. It's one of these roads that's basically a shortcut. It's about a mile long, and it's a shortcut to get from like point A to point B, and a lot of people take it. And when all this activity started taking place, where people were driving down the road and they're seeing this thing and they're literally getting chased, you know, by this animal, they all referred it to as a werewolf. And just overnight, Jefferson Township Police Department of only 6 officers built a facility dead center where all the activity is taking place. Okay, so there's cameras all along the road now, and there's signs telling you you're being monitored. So they know there's something there. They're tracking it. So not this past October, but 3 Octobers ago, okay, we were out there, and we found there was a post on one side of the road there where they ended up putting the fence line, so whatever there cannot come out onto the road, which is really weird. And there was a fence post that was there, and there was a deer head that was literally ripped off and put onto that post. We went back a year later, and that deer head is bone now, and it was still sitting on that post. No one from the DNR, no one moved that deer head from there. So we kind of took it as a possibility that whatever it was giving us a warning. And I've got a picture of it, and it's just like, it's really wicked looking. Yeah, you can see the water and stuff in there. And right above, you can see where the footprint came up. See this, where it's wet on top there, where that water came on top of the mud there.
Yeah, that's a head scratcher right there.
Yeah. And like I say, if it's a bear, if this bear was able to walk on 2 legs because the tracks came out and, you know, line like this, which is very unusual, showing
so
how to walk.
Were there any other tracks that you could find, or was this the single?
No, this is the best one. The other ones, when it came out the tree line, this was the best one. Then when you went back, there was 2 other ones.
if it turned out to be a bear, because of the size, it would have to be a grizzly bear.
That's what, it would have to be, and that's what the DNR said. It would have to be the size.
Not only that, it would have to be a grizzly bear, and it would have to have been born with a birth defect of only having 4 toes, because that is not something there that has had 5 toes and lost one.
Right. Now, this other print that I sent you, you can see where it was going back, and it only has 4 toes on it also. But this is like the best of the photographs of the print. But see, one thing on there, you can't really tell unless you were there looking at it. It's pretty deep. You know, it's in there pretty deep.
I'm fascinated by this. Very interesting.
I mean, the claws are the thing that got me about
somebody in chat says, I mean, no disrespect, but this print looks like it was somebody played a prank with a stomper, but
a stomper.
I don't think that's a stomper.
No.
No, you can look at the cast and the cast itself. You can
stomper, just right. It would be flat.
Yeah.
The shape of a foot that's flat.
You're seeing some ridge line.
Right.
You're seeing some ridge line in there. And,
a lot of definition.
Yeah.
And
I've never, aside from the Lizard Man castings that I saw that their former sheriff Liston Truesdale had,
mm-hmm.
You know, that you could tell that the claws were kind of fake. What I find interesting is that, you know, in this cast you have the claws are going at different directions a little bit. They're not all uniform. They're not all the same. So that
actually there's one that's actually longer.
And you can see, this one, and you can see this one's turned in a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that if somebody's going to make a stomper with claws in it, especially, I mean, I don't see making a stomper with claws in it at all. To tell you the truth, I think more people would be apt to fake it with a Bigfoot print rather than trying to put a mysterious cryptid print out there.
Well, here's the thing you have to understand about Germantown is that this legend is gone on since the 70s.
Sure.
Okay. It was called the Butter Street Monster for the longest time. So people in that area know about it.
Sure.
But the thing of it is why, if someone was faking something, why would they put it where they put it? Because we came across it basically by accident. Okay. They would have put it out where somebody was going to see it. Okay. That's my thing. Where this was, like I said, we came across this basically by accident because we're, crossing a cornfield that was already taken down. We were just looking, and we just basically decided, to go into the wood line, and we just happened to go up to where this track was actually coming out of the wood line. And it was just, like I said, it was strictly by accident. Now, we went all up along the wood line to see if we can find any more tracks. But see, in the field, now, to give you an idea of how it was, if you came out of the wood line, there was a large field of where the cornfield was. Okay. And Anthony Road is like right there. So it would have been coming out of the wood line, walking towards the road. My theory is that it was coming out of the wood line, and maybe a car was coming down or coming up Anthony Road, and it moved back in. That's my theory. Okay.
Right.
Now, when we went through the cornfield, you have to understand it was raining. Okay. We were making footprints in, the cornfield, which was a muddy field. That was the purpose of us in the field, was to look for footprints. Okay. And we decided, well, we're going to go into the wood line to see if we have a better chance of finding something, because we could not find anything in that field. So who knows? I mean, if someone is going to fake something, I don't think I just can't see them putting a fake print somewhere where it's not going to be noticed.
Yeah. How far off? This was a distance off the road, I take.
Yeah, this was probably, I'm estimating, about 70 or 80 yards off the road. Okay, so and it's a pretty big cornfield. And here's the thing, I'll have to send you these. Like I said, they're on my Facebook page, but we end up Google Earthing the area. Okay, the exact area. After we got the print, we did a Google Earth of the area, and there's a large creature walking across that field, that cornfield, after the cornfield was taken down. I'm not kidding. It's really weird. You see this large animal walking along that tree line.
What was the stride on this thing?
I think we measured it at 2.5 feet. Okay. Yeah. So it wasn't very big. Large. Yeah. I mean, very big stride. And the thing of it is, if it was on all fours, a bear prints are like this. Okay. They'll almost touch each other, the front paw and the back paw. And there was none of that there. I can't tell you what it is. I'm going to be honest with you. Like I said, because of the area that it's in and the history, it could be a dogman print. It could be a dogman print. It also could be a bear print, but this thing had been walking on two legs. That there's no other way, you would have seen the other paw.
Now, could you delineate any toe marks in the other prints at all?
Yeah, I just sent you another picture. Okay. And this was the picture that was behind it. Did you get that one?
I'm working on it.
And that was the other picture that was actually behind it in the tree line. And you can see, because the ground was not, because it was heavily wooded and the ground was not that wet. So it did not even, it made somewhat of a print. But like I said, when it went out and out of the wood line going into the cornfield, that's where that mud, that's where it made the print.
By the way, we did get a word from Larry Batson in. What I did was I forwarded him the pictures and I said, do you think that is a baboon? And Larry did respond. And what he said was old world primate, baboon, maybe macaque.
A what?
Macaque. So definitely he's a
baboon or macaque.
Macaque, which is a monkey, basically.
Oh, I thought you said cat.
No, macaque. Macaque.
Okay.
Yeah, well, based on the size of it, wouldn't be that. It would have to be a baboon.
Yeah.
So I
have squinted so much on this print, it's giving me a headache. I've not been a big follower of Dogman. I always just kind of.
So that's the other one that was behind it.
This print has really got me.
Yeah, and I think this will kind of say. Now you see, right now I can tell, just looking at this does not look like a stomper, because there seems to be different depths on the claw marks.
And you can see where it pushed down,
like this one, right? So that means there's going to be some flexibility to the toes.
Right.
Now, for the podcast listeners, guys, you're going to have to get on the YouTube channel to watch this one because these photos are pretty dang neat. These are head scratchers.
And I do see some smushing of the leaf litter into the ground.
Yeah.
Very evident. So it's not something that was drawn in there. And just the fact that there's a different depth at just telling me there's different pressure points as the print is being made. Fascinating.
I mean, like I said, I can't tell you what it is. I have no idea.
Me neither, Jody.
Yeah.
I like that. It's neat.
Yeah. So
and mind you, when stompers are made, if tracks are made with stompers, a lot of times there'll be some definite, questionable brush around it, like brush has been stepped down because you just can't walk. You'd have to walk on these stompers, and then eventually you would find the area where somebody breaks down, unless they're just stamping them. But then again, you're going to have other footprints there too. If you're stamping them or you're using, ones attached to the feet, you're going to see definite things that would indicate that. But I'm looking at different depth. I'm looking at different pressure points.
What I'm concentrating on here is the fact that it's got the 4 toes. Okay. And the overall size is larger than a common black bear would be.
Now, I also want to get into Raptor Crazy's question. Did you actually get a call from people saying they found these tracks, or were you on expedition? I think you were just out.
No, we were actually on an expedition in Germantown. We knew it was raining. Okay, so we figured that would be probably the best time to go looking for tracks. Okay. And that's why, like you said, the cornfields and stuff, we were there. And just by chance, we decided to go to leave the cornfield to go into the wood line. And when we were going into the wood line, that's when we came up on, onto the tracks.
Very interesting. And just so we get some length of the print, it looks like from nail to end of pad is probably a little over 6.5 inches.
Yeah.
From the pad itself, I would say probably about a 6-inch. That's pretty big. That is really.
It's a good size.
Yeah.
Like someone send you this other picture.
And again, we see 4 toes. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's got me. That's what's got me. I mean, it's not uncommon to see a black bear, but now this is larger than a black bear. But even if this was like a hugely massive adult black bear, that nobody's ever seen one this big before.
It could be. I mean,
the missing toe deal has got me. Okay.
The 4-toed thing is kind of weird
because we're looking at a pad, right, that is proportionate with the toe splay. And we're not seeing an extra wide pad and a space where there should be another toe. No. The pad is narrower than the toe splay.
Yeah, I sent you some pictures. This is another case that we did. There was a woman that was driving from one location to another location, and she ended up turning up, going off road. Okay. And she was trying to find out where she is. She was, getting on her phone, looking for the GPS to find out, where the location she was supposed to be going, because they ended up taking her to another place. It was raining that day. And she noticed off to the side, she's in the driver's seat, something walking over to her car. And she looks up and she said there was this effing werewolf looking in her car. So she took off. So she's on the internet and she's trying to figure out what the heck that she saw. Okay. And she ended up coming across our website. Luckily, she was here in Cincinnati, so that was cool. And she told us what it was that she saw. She took us out to the location. It was like raining for that week. I'm surprised that the tracks were still there. Now, right above, you can see where her, now these are the tracks where it was standing, looking at her. Okay. Now, right on very top of the picture, that's where her tire was. You can see the tire marks there. If you look at the other pictures, those were her tire tracks. That's where it was standing, looking at her. But she said it was probably, she said it was about 4 feet tall. You know, looks like a werewolf, looked like a wolf standing there. It was a small one. You can tell by the tracks it was small, but it was standing, she said it was standing there looking at her. And she said it had the odd look on his face and stuff. So you can see where it's just standing side by side, print right there by the tire tracks. You know, and what's so weird about this, okay, what is so strange about this, those are the only 2 tracks. There is no tracks that's walking over there. It's like this thing appeared right there. It's just, it was a weird case because, like you said, there was no, and it looks like there's 3 toes, you know, 3 toes there. It's one really odd case. Because, like I said, we could not find any other tracks where this thing walked over to her vehicle. It was just those 2 tracks standing there next to her car where it was looking in at her.
That is a bit bizarre.
Yeah, it's weird. You know, we get stuff like this all the time. I mean, when it comes to like the Dogman stuff, there's a lot of supernatural.
Yeah. Now, how wide were those tracks? Do you remember or recall? Or
you know what I didn't even think about measuring them because I figured the tire marks right there would have been enough of a, you know, kind of size. To me, the tracks were they weren't that big. They weren't that. To me, they looked like maybe a size of a domestic large dog, you know, Rottweiler, German Shepherd, something like that. They were big, but they weren't
nothing like the grizzly size.
Yeah, there was nothing like a big bear track or anything. They were like basic domestic dog size, but there was no other tracks. I mean, that's the thing. There was no other tracks where it was walking over to the car. It was just those 2 tracks standing there, and you see where the tire marks there because that's where, you know, the car was parked, and that's where, and it was looking in the window, and she said it just had, it was showing its teeth, it had, you know, weird eyes, and it was standing there, and she hauled butt to get out of there. I don't know. To me, this was some type of a supernatural encounter, but the fact that she described it as a werewolf is what kind of got our attention, you know, on it.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
This one doesn't excite me as much as the other one. I look at this and I see a large domestic animal. What I see.
Yeah.
But now that's just Chris's opinion, okay? I really like the other track. But, you know, you never know. I mean, the lady could have actually had something that it could have scared her.
It's just too.
You never know.
Yeah, the thing of it, if it was, to me, if it was a domestic dog or something, you know, you would have seen the dog tracks. You know, the fact that it was only at 2 tracks where it was standing there, as odd. It's just
It almost looks like if the animal got inside of the vehicle.
to give you an idea.
Disappeared.
I sent you one last picture. This was a case that we did. And this was actually outside of Skinwalker Ranch, where this woman was actually people in this small community were dealing with a werewolf. Is basically what it was attacking the animals. We got pictures of, and this was one of the tracks. So that's a pretty big track. But let me send you this other picture that matches up. You can see this thing. Now, if you look where her thumb is and you go across and you look at the bottom toe there, this thing had like an opposable thumb. I'm not kidding. Let me see this other picture. You can tell where we did this color image on it. You can see where that was an opposable thumb on that particular print there. It's I don't know. It's kind of odd. But it's this farm area, right? And there's about 6 homes in this area. Okay. And you can see them from each other. Okay. But it's a lot of farming area, a lot of livestock, horses, things like that. Well, they knew that there was a Bigfoot in the area. Everyone's seen the Bigfoot. They would hear it, but the Bigfoot never, ever bothered any of the livestock whatsoever. Then they had livestock that was being attacked. Then they had animals that were coming up missing. And they were seeing something that they described as a very large wolf, but it was walking on 2 legs. And they said one night that they heard 2 different types of animals screaming like they were fighting in the woods. And everybody in the community basically came out and they were listening to it. They believed that whatever this creature was, this large canine, was fighting the Bigfoot, and they believe it killed the Bigfoot because they'd never seen the Bigfoot. And this was a year ago, and they still had never seen the Bigfoot again, but they keep seeing this creature. Now, when we were there, this lady has a horse, okay? And you can see the 5 claw marks going down the chest of the horse. I got pictures of that. And you can see now horses, when the predators attack an animal, they always hit it from behind, okay, to get it down, because it's easier to get it down on the ground.
Bring it down, then they go for the neck.
And they go for the neck. This thing attacked the horse from the front, which is extremely dangerous to do because a horse will kill you. But like I said, I'll send you the.
Now, was this also in the Skinwalker area?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a lot. They have a lot of weird stuff going on over there.
Yeah. And I sent you the pictures of the horse. 2 of the horses that got attacked. And like I said, this thing attacked like 2 large horses in the corral area, and it attacked them from the front. And you can see the attack marks on the front. And predators just don't do that because they know. I mean, a horse can kill you, with his front hooves and legs when he goes to fighting. I mean, you can see where it's swollen. See how it's swelling out? Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, claw marks there.
Actually, it looks like a puncture wound there too, like a bite.
Yeah. But yeah, you can see where it attacked it there.
Boom, I see claws. I see maybe a bite,
mm-hmm.
and a bite down lower.
Yeah, I mean, you can see how on that horse, how that it's already bloated and got infected, you know. So whatever it was, it attacked this one from the front, and there's another picture of a different horse that it attacked in the front, which is I don't know of any domestic predator that would attack a horse from the front or any other animal, because they always go from the back and from the legs to get it down on the ground. So these animals were defending themselves against something.
One, two, three, four.
Yeah. So it's not a bear. A bear's not stupid enough, to be honest, to do that. This thing was able to get over the corral to get into the corral, okay, to go after these horses. And the daughter actually, who actually saw it, I sent you this, if you want to use this picture. This is her drawing of what she saw outside that night, crawling along the ground at the corral before the animals were attacked. And she said this thing, she said it was huge. It was like a wolf, but she said it was doing a crawl like an army man, was the way she described it. She's like 13 years old, and she's looking out the back window, and this is what she drew, what she saw. But she said it was crawling like an army man on the ground.
Oh my God, it looks like a porcupine. Oh, let's not get into that.
No, but you can see the hair. You can see the high pointed ears, the snout, and how this thing was, this is a 13-year-old kid, okay, that drew this picture. But she said that's what she saw. The security light came on. This was in the middle of the night. She looked out the window. The horses were kind of going nuts. And she said this large dog-like thing was doing an army man crawl on the ground, trying to go around into the corral. So and like I said, Skinwalker Ranch, I mean, that's some weird stuff that goes on out there, man. And the whole Four Corners area is wicked.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time out in the Four Corners area.
Yeah, so you know as well as I do. It's
bizarre. It's really
it's a wicked place.
That looks to me like it could even be what they would consider a skinwalker.
Steve, I want to share something on the screen real quick. We've got some comments over in chat about the there we go. Okay. Now, one of the comments over in the chat is that it's common for the black bear to lift the fifth toe, so you only see four. But so here's the problem. Like now, this one you see 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So you're thinking, okay, gosh, that's a 4-toe track. Well, now here's the problem. This pad here, it doesn't stop here. It keeps on going very wide underneath the tracks. Mm-hmm. So, there's a space here for a fifth toe, but obviously the bear has lifted it or it didn't imprint.
Right.
So, but we don't see that on the other one. And I'll go ahead and close this out. So we have a wide pad here. We see 4 toes visible. Now there's a space here for a fifth toe because there's the pad. And we're not seeing that there. But on the other print that Jody's showing us, can you bring that up, Steve?
No, I can't. It's on your computer.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let me end it up here.
You gotta add it to the stream, Chris. Or
no, I closed mine out.
Well, that's why I stick to the Bigfoot.
Anyway,
a little less complicated.
The thing is, if it is a bear, it could be. I don't know.
Yeah, and just so the chat knows, Joedy isn't putting this up as definitive evidence of anything.
No, I'm just going by that. We know that there is a lot of dogman activity in this area since the 1970s. We know the DNR knows about it. We know because we've been moved. Yeah. This is a public area, public road.
I think that was the point Chris was trying to make, Kirk.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, we've been forced out of there by the DNR on public property. Okay. Before what we're doing. And like I said, I wish I had it on my phone, this Google Earth image of the actual area where we were at. And we did a Google Earth after we found the tracks in order to get a good idea of where we were, where the track was. And you see a really large bipedal animal walking in that field along the tree line. I mean, it's as plain as day. And it was picked up by Google Earth. Now, I don't know when that image was actually taken by Google Earth because they change it off and on. Right. They updated like monthly of the area. But we know there was something in that area, prior to when we found the track.
Yep.
So I'll send that picture to you.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
That way, if you want to throw it, I don't know if you edit anything after this.
No, there's a show just goes the way it goes. We don't really edit too much afterwards.
Well, people, if people want to see the picture,
unless that time like Bennett took his pants off in the middle of the show, then we had to edit that out.
If people want to see it, just PM me on Facebook, and I'll be happy to send you the picture. It's but like I said, I'll send it to you anyhow, so you guys can take a look at it. The Google image. I have a blow up of it, and then I have like a regular Google image of the area. And the thing of it is, like I said, it's the stories that are coming out of Germantown, about this thing. So I don't know. Could people see a bear and get it confused with the dogman? Yes and no. Okay. And the reason why I say yes and no is that bears' ears are not pointed. They're rounded. Dogman is obviously a canine, so the ears are always pointed. There's a big difference. Bears have very short legs. These things don't. I don't know. The best, like I said, it's hard to describe. We have a really good picture. It's a blurry picture, but it's one of probably the best pictures of the dogman that came out of Joedy National Forest. A guy took a picture of it, and I think it's probably one of the best dogman pictures. And obviously, this thing is not a bear because you can tell by the body. There's just no way this is a black bear standing up. Because it's just by the chest alone and by the high pointed ears, you can even see the hair, like from the sunlight, you can see like kind of like the hair and stuff, the light part of the hair. So it's neat. So
very fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
But we are getting ready to close the show.
Okay.
We get really soon here in the next few minutes. And obviously we just touched a bit on what, your experiences and of course your Bigfoot experiences and stuff like that too. So, this is really good looking at tracks and looking at different oddities, and it's a very strange world we live in. That's for sure.
Love that.
So Chris, I wanted to tell you, I've been talking about we have moose in my area. Yeah. And unfortunately I don't have the video because it was sent to my girlfriend, but Michelle, who everybody met on our podcast of Return to the Mountain and also on our trip there when we did a couple of mountain expeditions. She was driving to the store the other day, and guess what she saw crossing the road? A moose.
Oh.
So yeah, we do have a moose on the loose out here. Looks like a big old bull. No horns, but
it's odd because we don't have caribou, or not caribou, but elk. In Ohio. Okay. Ohio has a couple reserves that have like elk and stuff on it where you can go hunt. And they have boar on their wild pigs, which is which is probably the most dangerous animal to hunt. And you better have a big enough caliber to take that thing down, because they're like a Ferrari. They can get 0 to 60 fast. Okay. But we had a lot of sightings of elk in Ohio, and what it was that these things were actually coming off of the reserve, and they actually, they had a moose on there too, but the moose wasn't, they were, for hunting, but it was just someone's pet that they had that actually got off of the reserve, and there was a sighting of a moose. So they're big animals, man.
Yeah,
they're huge.
Yeah.
Oh, that's man, right. I've only seen one in Kentucky, and that was in the Wildlife Museum down the street here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting because we know we have a moose crossing sign probably about 6 miles from where I live, and there is a population of moose on the mountain on near Lake Desolation. And every once in a while, they'll come down and visit us down here in the valley. So
I wish they would start a moose population in Kentucky. I mean,
they were talking about it. LBL has a lot of buffalo or bison, and they were talking about for the longest time bringing some moose in and bringing moose in down there.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, I mean, because the weather and the environment's perfect. They'll be protected, but the problem is animals do leave the reservations.
Yeah, well, I know what the problem would be here. I mean, all the deer hunters would be hollering, "Yeehaw!"
Yeah, obviously they would be protected. You couldn't hunt them, but who's going to stop someone from doing it?
Well, folks, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Next week, we'll be airing a best of show because guess what? I have to work next Sunday night on a mission, so I will not be here. So we'll have a best of show next week where Chris and I got to figure out how to make that work, but we will. We will pick one from our illustrious 85 plus like 3 special edition shows we've done over the last couple of years here on YouTube. Going on 2 years, we'll be just this July, we will be on YouTube 2 years already. Can you believe that, Chris?
That's good.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a wild ride doing this StreamYard thing. I love it because we can show some stuff and we can talk about things and have a lot of fun and not necessarily go crazy on things, but
I love it. And that's a reminder for the podcast listeners, guys. You got to get on the YouTube channel and look at these photos.
Joedy, where can people find you to follow you?
They can look for me on Facebook under Joedy Cook. They can go on to any of the North American Dogman pages that's on there and look for me there. You can go on www.NorthAmericanDogmanProject.com. You can send a message through me there. I'm on Instagram. You can contact me through there. But like I said, Facebook is probably the best. My email address is OC4, B as in boy, F as in Frank, S as in Sam @hotmail.com. You can contact me there, all lowercase.
Awesome. Well, Joedy, again, thanks for coming on.
No problem, brother.
And we're gonna do our outro for the show, and of course, we will be back in 2 weeks live. Look for a best of episode next week. That way, you guys can gaggle and yak at yourselves while we play in the background. But folks, again, we want to wish everybody a happy New Year again. Thanks for being with us. We have the greatest audience in the world. Chris, you want to take away, do your thing?
I want to thank Mr. Joedy Cook for being on with us. It was an honor, sir. And thank you for bringing those photographs with you. I really appreciate that.
Yep, a lot of fun.
Well, at least we figured out what it was. So that's good.
Some of it, man.
Yeah, that's the fun of it. Like I said, I just never knew what it was. I like I said, I never said it was a Bigfoot or a dog man. But like I said, it's just it was interesting. I'm kind of glad that we kind of figured out what it was.
Yeah.
I want to thank our audience and listeners and our chat room listeners. Thank you guys for being here with us. As always, your questions are just, spot on, and you make the show. You really do. If it's your first time listening on YouTube, consider giving us a like, subscribe, share.
Sharing is caring.
We appreciate it.
Yep. And
it helps us get found in the search algorithm. Thanks, folks.
Yep, folks, make sure on your way out, give us a thumbs up on the way out. Again, it helps with the algorithm, gets us watched, gets us recommended. And that's what we want. We want to put this good information out. And as always, we'll catch you next week here. We'll catch you in 2 weeks live, 9 p.m. Eastern on Squatch-D TV, squatchtv.com. We want to wish everybody a happy, safe, and healthy week. Happy 2022. It's finally here, and we'll catch you all next week, folks. Love you guys. Peace out.
Hey, folks, you've been watching Squatch-D TV. Join us each week, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for the latest on the Bigfoot mystery. As always, we thank you for being our loyal viewers and encourage all to subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Steve Culls. As always, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless. And keep on squatching.